Hello and welcome to How I Built Bits, where every week I give you a cool tool, tip, or trick to help you be a better creator in 6 minutes or less. Clock's ticking, so let's get to it. Today begins a short series that I'll do over the next few months called How I've Configured My Stream Deck, and today is part 1, the Stream Deck Plus. I picked that one because I think I could do the whole thing in less than 6 minutes, but let's find out. There will be a screenshot in the description so you could see the buttons I'm using. Most of the buttons come from Federico Vitici and the Mac Stories Icons bundle, which is absolutely amazing. He made it for shortcuts, but I'm also using it for the Stream Deck. So we're going to start at the top left and then go across, and then I'll cover the dials, what the dials do, and if I can push the buttons and things like that. So first up is it's a button that opens up my dashboard in Craft, and my dashboard in Craft has my most commonly accessed notes, things I'm thinking about, as well as a few tables with stats for audience growth and my health. This is something I reference every day, and having it easily accessible on the Stream Deck is really important to me. Button number 2, again moving from left to right, is the today view for things 3, which is my task manager. This is something that I reference every day. And again, when I want to see what I need to do from a task-based standpoint, I want to make sure that I have this up and running. So that is the second button. The third button turns my key lights on and off. I will do this. Usually there's a dedicated button because sometimes the key lights have trouble talking to Homebridge, which is how I control my key lights via the Home app on iOS. If you want to hear more about that, right at howibuilt.it/feedback. But also I like to turn my key lights off when I'm watching something on my monitor, usually over lunch, because the lights are too bright and I'm not getting like the color that I'd like to see. So I like to be able to quickly turn them on and off. The fourth button in the top row is called, it runs a shortcut called Clip to Craft. It grabs the contents of my clipboard and then copies it into a note in Craft. This is very like second brain driven. So if I copy something, I know I can just push that button and have a note in my notes app. Starting on the bottom, the second row here, left to right, there is a shortcut to search Craft notes. This leverages Raycast's search. So if I want to find a note quickly in Craft, I can use that. The next button, so row 2, button 2, opens up the Raycast note. Raycast has a dedicated note that you can write, and this is usually like something for quick thoughts that I'll want to put somewhere else. Number 3 on the second row controls my office shortcut, so I can turn all of the lights in my office on or off with that button, not just the key lights, but when I'm leaving the office, usually I'll push that button and all of the lights in my office will turn off. And then the last button is record in Loom. I've been using Loom a lot more lately since ZipMessage, my favorite asynchronous communication tool, allows for embedding Loom videos. I think that Loom creates better videos than ZipMessage, so I've been recording a lot more in Loom. So that's the top 2 rows. Let's get to the dials really quickly. First of all, the background for the dials is a picture I took at sunset in Florence. I absolutely love it. It makes me happy every time I see it. The first dial is a stack, and it controls my key lights as far as brightness and color temperature goes. So if I don't want to turn them all the way off, I can just turn down the brightness. And again, if I want to adjust the color temperature based on maybe natural light or whatever other lights I have in my office at that moment, I can do that really easily. The second button is volume control for my entire computer, so I can turn it right to increase the volume, left to decrease the volume, or push the button to mute my computer. I like having this on the Stream Deck because sometimes it's a little easier to reach for than my keyboard. Sometimes my keyboard will be set aside if I'm like using my notebook. And then again, because I like having this as a dedicated button on my Stream Deck, I have a stack to play and pause music, right? So if I press the dial, it will play or pause. And then if I turn the dial, it will go to the previous or next track in whatever music app I have of choice. Later, I'll tell you how I have dedicated buttons for other apps, but there it is. We did it. The last dial is not being used for anything right now because honestly, dial support is lacking a little bit. It's relatively new and developers haven't jumped onto it. But I will say, Ecamm Live and Philips Hue just released, as I record this, support for dials. So I'll have to explore that a little bit more, probably in a live stream for pro members. So if you want to catch that, you can head over to howibuilt.it/pro and become a member. That's howibuilt.it/pro. But that's it for this episode. Until next time, thanks for listening and get out there and build something.